U.S. food producers just keeps getting slammed by one disaster after another. Global leaders keep telling us that there will be food shortages in the months ahead. And this is by Michael Schneider. You've probably noticed that food prices just keep going up in the grocery stores. Now we know that just yesterday I posted a video on another poultry production plant catching fire. That's over 105 or 110 since last December alone in the United States. Now, they keep telling us that the food prices will just be increasing. Many people believe that this is just a temporary phenomenon, and those people would be wrong. In fact, things are really going to start going haywire when a lot of the food that is supposed to be on our store shelves next year, in 2023, don't show up. Of course, the reason that food is not going to be there is because it's not being grown in 2022. This summer, food production in the United States is constantly being slammed by one disaster after another. Sadly, most Americans still don't understand that this is going to deeply affect all of us in the months ahead. Let me start by discussing my discussion by talking about the endless drought that is scorching crops all over the western half of the nation. And let's remember, the drought is not only happening in the United States, it's also happening in Northern Europe. Rivers are drying up, and even China has a tremendous drought and a food shortage problem. So it's not just the western half of the United States. At this point, it's becoming clear that corn and soybean yields in the United States will be way down in 2022. Drought is shrinking crops from the U.S. Farm Belt to China's Yangtze River Basin, ratcheting up fears of global hunger and weighing on the outlook for inflation. The latest warning flare comes out of American Midwest, where some corn is so parched, stalks are missing ears of grain, and soybean pods are fewer and smaller than usual. The dismal report from the Pro Farmer Crop Tour has helped lift a gauge of grain prices back to the highest level ever since June. In one form or another, corn and soybeans are in thousands upon thousands of products that Americans consume on a daily basis. If the supply of corn and soybeans is way down, that means that prices will be way up. Anyone that has taken Economics 101 can figure that out. Meanwhile, the drought is also taking a devastating toll on ranchers. Many of them have been selling off their herds while they still have something to sell, and that has helped keep short-term meat prices stable. But the size of our national cattle herd just keeps getting smaller and smaller, and that is going to mean much higher beef prices in the years ahead. In response, ranchers have been forced to sell their animals early, thinning the numbers of older cows. By some estimates, the U.S. beef production cattle herds could be slashed by up to 20% if the ranching industry gets rid of its older calf-producing cows. The implications of fewer cows giving birth to calves are that over the next few years, there will be higher beef prices. This is what Peter Bozo said. He's vice president of Chef's Warehouse, a food purveyor to high-end restaurants. Sadly, those in the western half of the nation are not going to get any relief anytime soon. In fact, it's been reported that the sizzling heat wave will be baking the entire region throughout this week. Some of the hottest temperatures of the year are on the way for the West Coast and possibly staying dangerously hot through Labor Day as a mega heat wave builds in for the long term. More than 55 million people are currently under heat alerts from Southern California to the San Joaquin Valley and into portions of the Northwest, including 20 of the most populated cities up and down the West Coast. Temperatures could exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit in parts of the Southwest, where an excessive heat warning is currently in effect, the Weather Prediction Center wrote. Meanwhile, we're witnessing historic flooding along the Mississippi River, and this will have a substantial impact on nearby agricultural production. Portions of central Mississippi and the lower Mississippi Delta saw more than 1 foot of rain between August 21st and 25th, and flash flooding will affect some agricultural commodities in these areas. At this point, nobody knows how extensive the damage is. But what we do know is that some crops that were wiped out were literally just about to be harvested. Numerous row crop fields were saturated, and preliminary reports suggest that the crops most compromised will be early planted corn and soybeans that were nearly ready for harvest before the weather deteriorated. Switching gears, fish are being killed in vast numbers by an algae bloom that has suddenly erupted along the west coast. In fact, we're being told that this is the very first algae bloom that has ever been recorded in San Francisco Bay. Environmental nonprofit San Francisco Baykeeper is reporting that an algae bloom is happening across the San Francisco Bay, something they believe is unprecedented in the history of the bay. Additionally, in the past week, Baykeeper said it's receiving an increased number of reports of dead fish around the bay that the group suspects the algae bloom is to blame. Baykeeper reported that hundreds of dead fish were visible Sunday at the Oakland Yacht Club. On Thursday, Baykeeper reported dozens of fish in the middle of the bay between Dumbarton and San Mateo bridges. Day after day, so many strange things are taking place. Why do you think this is happening? Lastly, I want to mention the fact that there has been yet another fire at a food production facility in the United States. This time it was poultry business in Montebello, California. A commercial fire burning a poultry business in Montebello Sunday afternoon. QC Poultry at 1111 West Olympic Boulevard sustained building damage, and several commercial vehicles may also have been burned, a spokesperson for the city of Montebello said. Footage from the scene shows burn damage near the building's windows and doors, as well as at least one unit from the Monterey Park Fire Department present to assist. And as I've detailed in previous articles, in recent months there have been dozens of fires at food production facilities in the United States, but I suppose that this is just another coincidence, right? And all of this is happening in the context of a rapidly growing global food crisis that threatens to cause historic famines all over the world for years to come. Global leaders keep telling us that there will be food shortages in the months ahead. I'm taking those warnings quite seriously, and I believe that all of you should be taking those warnings quite seriously as well. Views expressed in the article are opinions of the author, do not necessarily reflect the views of Collective Spark. And the author says, my name is Michael Schneider, and my brand new book entitled 7-Year Apocalypse is now available on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 5 others that are available on Amazon: Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, Get Prepared Now, and Living a Life That Really Matters. By purchasing the books, you help to support the work that my wife and I are doing, and by giving it to others, you help to multiply the impact that we're having on people all over the globe. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, The End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media on Facebook and Twitter, and any way that you can share these articles with others is great help. During these very challenging times, people will need hope more than ever, and it's our goal to share the gospel of Jesus Christ with as many people as we possibly can. And this is by Michael Schneider on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.